right? Is that the story that you start telling yourself. And you're an action taker, right? You're one of those people that feels good when you're in action, fixing things. Me too. 100% Lauren Cosgrave is doing that. Welcome to the Action Taker podcast. Hi, I'm Lauren Cosgrave, and I'm a business coach. In this podcast, you'll find an action-packed look at the strategies, tactics, and mindset that lead to successful online coaching, consulting, and service businesses, even if you're a mighty team of one. All right, so in today's episode of the Action Taker podcast, I wanted to talk about not taking action. So often I'm talking about staying in action, staying in motion. But today we're going to talk about when you need to pause, when to stop, and when to not take action yet. Okay? So there is an important time when we need to stop and pause and not take action. And what I've been seeing a lot of, and I personally have done this as well. Have you ever launched a program and then had this sinking feeling that something must be wrong about the program and that your course or your group or your program needs to be changed, that you need a different format, or you must need to do this other thing. You must need to do a monthly instead of a weekly program, or you need to do one-on-one instead of group coaching because you're not reaching your revenue targets, right? Is that the story that you start telling yourself? And you're an action taker, right? You're one of those people that feels good when you're in action, fixing things. Me too. 100% Lauren Cosgrave is doing that. Well, what I want to talk about is that creating or changing your program is that you're probably ignoring the root cause of your problem, okay? So what you're doing is when you're blind to the root cause, you start pivoting 100 different times. And you're actually running away from solving the right problem. And in essence, you're starting back over from scratch every time you launch a new program. So the Action Taker Blueprint for Consistent Sales is a new free PDF guide that I have available. You can go download it at laurencosgrave.com/blueprint to see where you're starting back over again. You're having to build your foundations again. You're having to go back to whether it aligns with your mission statement. You're having to think about what your new sales process is. You're having to think about your CRM again. Who are the people that you're going to market to? How are you going to advertise it? Is it going to be an ad strategy? So everything shifts and pivots when you change that program. So what we need to do instead of constantly pivoting, instead of creating a new program, is focus on the data and pause and reset. Think about, why am I making this shift, for one? And ask yourself the question, am I changing this program because I really don't like it and it's not working for my lifestyle and the design of my business the way I envision it and want it to go in the future? Then we can talk about pivoting. Then we can talk about changing your program. So when I'm coaching my clients in the Action Taker Elite program, that is what I'm listening for. It's one of the first questions I'm asking is, why are you wanting to do this change? What is the root cause of making you want to do this change? If the root cause is just because it's not working, not because you really hate it and it's just not working for you and it's taking up too much time, then changing the program most likely is not where we need to start. And if that's the case, then we need to flip to pausing and looking at the data. Is it a lead generation problem? Is it an ads conversion problem? Is it a sales script problem? The list then gets really long of all of these other problems that need to be solved that are not changing your program or your product or service. And so how do you know what that data is? One, I strongly encourage that you have a KPI sheet that you're filling in every week. You're checking in on what are those core metrics for you and your business. And everyone's metrics are different. We cover this a little bit in the Action Taker method when you're doing marketing trials around what are those key performance indicators that you want to track. But if you're really basic, typically I can just ask a couple of questions and figure out what is that missing link in the data. It often can be how many conversations you're having. or lead generation. It could be ads. You can go into Facebook Ads Manager, has a wealth of data that you can go and extract at any time, whether you've been collecting it weekly or not. So there's a ton of information that you can gather out there. So action takers, pause today. Think about what is that program that's on your mind. Think about what is that shift that, oh, I'm going to do this summer program, or I'm going to do this quarterly program, or I want to do a group on top of what I already have. And really, really give yourself the opportunity to check in with, why am I doing this? Is this a grasp? Is this a little bit of a desperation? And maybe this will work. Maybe if I change to something else, this will be the thing. And I want to tell you that it's not going to be the thing if you don't have the lead generation in the front end, and it's not going to be the thing if it's not aligned with who you want to be and the business that you're designing. So make sure that those bookends are aligning before you're going down the path of creating a new program. So continue to stay in action, even if that action is just being still and thinking and looking at the data. It's a different type of action, right? And if you want more help on knowing when to prioritize certain things in your business, knowing when and what is the right order of doing your foundations, your operations, your marketing trials, and scaling with the team, I want to invite you to go check out the Action Taker Blueprint for consistent sales. It's available now at laurencosgrave.com/blueprint. It's also just up on my website at laurencosgrave.com. Right there at the top, you can go find it. So go grab that free PDF. I hope that it helps you, action takers. And remember that normal is boring, your success is inevitable, and action taking is replacing the grind. And I'll see you next time here on the Action Taker Podcast.